On today's show, we're going to give you our thoughts on a ton of potential trade targets for the Mariners. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Thursday, July 24th, 2025. This is Teddy Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. So we asked you guys just a little while ago on Twitter which players you want to hear us talk about a bit more ahead of the deadline, because on FanFiction Friday we do try to give you just our general thoughts on the player, but typically that's still within the context of the trade you sent. So independent of any other factors, we're just going to talk about the players you want us to talk about today, and we've got a bunch, so we'll see if we can get to all of them. And also, there is no FanFiction Friday tomorrow, so we still wanted to get you guys involved here in the trade talk, because tomorrow we're doing reverse FanFiction Friday. We're going to give you our trade ideas. It's not going to be a trade deadline plan. It's just going to be a bunch of trade ideas that we came up with. So look forward to that. Anyway, let's get into these players that you want us to talk about. Side-Eye Dumper wants our thoughts on Taj Bradley.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea. You get him for 4 full years after this year. The Rays have been reportedly shopping him, so they're very open to moving him. And it's also worth noting that just last night, the Rays did demote Bradley to AAA. So
interesting.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's a precaution to make sure he doesn't get hurt before the deadline, or if he's throwing the ball particularly poorly at the moment. His numbers aren't great, but when I look at Bradley, I see a lot of swing and miss potential. I see really good stuff. I see a guy who's already, a good number 5 starter who sometimes looks like a number 3. I see a different kind of pitch mix than what Seattle has a lot in their rotation right now, as well as a more over-the-top arm slot, which is, again, different, a variation of what you would typically see when you watch the Mariners. So I think this is an interesting idea. I think the cost, 4.5 years of even like a number 4, number 5 starter is a lot. And the one thing you want to be careful here is you don't want to pay for the controllability more so than the upside. So who do you think Bradley is? What do you think he can provide? And how much is that worth to you on a year-to-year basis, right? And again, you don't want to be caught up, because paying for 4 years of Bradley might cost as much as Dylan Cease, probably more. And it's like, okay, well, isn't Dylan Cease a better pitcher right now, and isn't that more important to you right now?
Yeah.
So there is a a tipping point where the club control actually negatively impacts you, just because of how much it then costs to acquire, and it costs more to acquire than the impact that guy will actually provide, specifically because he's controllable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also, to your point, I don't know if this team necessarily needs to go out and get another long-term starter, and they just need a guy for the rest of the season. I don't even know if they really need a guy that, because look, when we get to the postseason, odds are they're going to start, in a wild card series, 3 of, Luis Castillo, Brian Wu, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, independent of whoever else is part of the rotation. So you really just need a guy that gets you to October. At that point, that guy is probably not going to pitch at all over the course of the postseason, no matter how deep you get into the postseason.
Yeah, even 5 or 7 game series, you're only going to need 4 starters.
Yeah, so I'd more so just look at like the Adrian Hausers of the world. We're going to be talking about him a little later on. Look more at those guys at this deadline. And then, like, if you do want a longer term starter, maybe Taj Bradley is still available this winter, and maybe you circle back on that if that's actually someone that you're interested in. I just don't think that's something that they necessarily need to put a lot of energy into at the deadline.
The bonus here, though, is if you acquire a guy like Bradley, you put him in your rotation, you see how he looks at T-Mobile Park, you see how your brain trust likes him, and is he the type of guy that the Mariners typically, go after? Is he data driven? Is he a guy who likes to tinker? Like, there are certain I don't want to say intangibles because you actually can measure them, but like things that we don't have information for, you and I don't have information for, that the Mariners can learn about the guy. And if he is, you might be more comfortable trading Luis Castillo this winter because you already have his replacement. Whereas if you don't get a guy like this, you do get a rental type, then you trade Castillo, fine, but either you have to go spend the money. Most of the money you would save by trading Castillo would have to go right back into acquiring his replacement, or to trust Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock for a full year. And the Mariners right now won't commit to either of these guys for more than a handful of starts at a time. So I'll tell you how they feel about those guys. So that is the one bonus here. But again, you have to be careful not to pay more for the controllability than the upside of the player you're actually acquiring.
Yeah, the Castillo aspect is a really good point, and that is something that we have talked about in the past. Maybe getting out ahead of one of the big items that might be on your shopping list this winter, getting that done now rather than waiting. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's something that like they really need to explore deeply this summer. But hey, if it comes across their table and it's something that's pretty reasonable, then sure, I'm on board with it. Bradley, like you said, yeah, he got sent down last night. He got jumped on by the White Sox last night. Just went an inning and 2/3, give up 4 earned runs, walked 3, 4 hits, give up a home run, no strikeouts.
Yeah. You wonder if going from that AAA ballpark he's pitching in right now to Seattle would probably help him quite a bit. And again, I do like the stuff there. I do like the makeup. I feel like there's a mid-rotation starter in there, and you just haven't found it yet, but I would trust Seattle to find it. But again, you don't want to pay for the 4 years instead of the impact.
Right. Tom wants to know about Brett Batty. Says his numbers both offensively and defensively have improved every year. Yeah, he's actually been solid this year. He's still not getting on base really at all. I think it's a sub 300 clip still, but he's actually, last time I checked, he was slightly above league average bat. Been pretty good defensively. I think the Mets just need him though, unless they're getting a third baseman at the deadline. I think they need him, so I don't think they would be trading him.
Yeah, I mean, Ventos, not really a third baseman, and he's also not having a very good year.
He's been garbage this year.
Yeah. By the way, the Mariners sent down Brandon Garcia, and they have recalled Jackson Coar. So just happened. A roster move. Not the kind of we're looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batty, again, he was not going to get on base. He's a significant downgrade defensively to Williamson. Like, are you that much better with Brett Batty? I'm not going to say no because Ben Williamson's a really bad hitter. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. No options left there. So, it's kind of make it work or don't. This is a lower end play. This is like deadline day and you just snag him for some depth. Like I don't want the plan at third base to just be, well, we got Brett Batty and then we got Carlos Santana, to play first. And that's just kind of what we did. Like, no, but if you go get a real impact at first base, you go get some real impact in the bullpen, and you're like, hey, we can also just add Batty here at the end to top it off. Fine. Like I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but I don't know. This idea doesn't excite me all that much.
I just don't even think it's possible, frankly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if it was, I just doesn't excite me that much, and I wouldn't give up a ton to make it happen either.
Speaking of Mark Vientos, Tyler wants to know about him. So again, yeah, he's been garbage this year, and he shouldn't play third base. He really should probably just DH, but he probably would play third base for you. I mean, we're getting close here, especially once Starling Marte and Jesse Winker come back and they push Jeff McNeil back into the infield, where the Mets might just DFA him. Because he's out of minor league options. So maybe this is an opportunity here where you're able to get a guy who a lot of people wanted this offseason and you're able to buy super low on him. I just don't really know how he fits. And you're going to need him to figure it out quickly to justify how little he fits roster wise.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you can get him cheap enough, you can give him a shot to be a platoon partner with Luke Raley over at first base if you don't land the first baseman, the everyday type of first baseman that you need. So maybe that's a way. But yeah, there's a lot of risk here, but there is reward. He was very good last year offensively.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he is club controlled for quite a while. So
Yeah.
I can't say no. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you that like they shouldn't even consider this. I think that there are a lot of red flags here, and I think there is some questionable roster fit. And then it comes down to what does it cost? Because I kind of doubt the Mets are just going to give him away in trade talks, just because of the upside. But the Mets need to, they're trying to win the World Series this year. Vientos is not helping them, and he's out of options, so they might not have a choice. So it's an interesting call. I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on. I don't think he's the solution for third base. Maybe he's a part of the solution for first base, and then you can kind of try and get him back on track. And again, like Brett Batty, like this can't be a guy you're counting on to help you in October. This has to be kind of a bonus.
This has to be like the Leote Taveras type of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. We are going to go over more of these guys in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Game Day Hue. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and so is this hat that I'm wearing. For Mariners fans like me, this one hits the mark. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. The hat pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team's logo stuff. It just adds to the lineup. It's the kind of hat that reps your team without screaming it. Subtle, but still says everything. And it's not just hats. Check out their split shade gloves, made for the golf course or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with promo code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com. Promo code MLB15. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast for instant reactions following every Mariners game. Be sure to tune in to the Mariners postcast with Anderson Hurst and Christopher Crawford, available on both the Locked On Mariners YouTube and podcast feeds. All right, let's get back into these players that you want us to talk about. Hamswaggerty69 has a trio of pitchers here he wants us to talk about. Sonny Gray, Adrian Hauser, and Ryan Pepio.
Sonny Gray has been a guy that the Mariners have been interested in multiple times in the past. They almost acquired him multiple times, and they came so close, in fact, once that they were involved in the Sonny Gray trade, just didn't actually acquire him. And he's good. He's still a good pitcher. The ERA is a little elevated this year, but you look at the underlying numbers, he's still a very good pitcher. The problem is he's going to make $35 million next year. They're out. Like, unless the Cardinals are eating a big chunk of that, he's out. Unfortunately, even if you offset it with some salary going the other way, you don't have anybody making that much. And like, you're not going to, like, what, you're going to trade Luis Castillo for Sonny Gray? Like, that doesn't help you. So yeah, the Sonny Gray thing, I like it. I think he'd be a great fit here. He's still a very good pitcher. I like that he's got another year of club control after this year, but he's making $35 million.
Yeah.
You're out, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, and then you're also on the hook for at least another 5 in 2027 because of the buyout, I believe. So you're on the hook for $40 million beyond this year on Sonny Gray. Yeah, plus there's like the no trade clause. Would he even accept a trade to Seattle? Probably, but still just want to mention that.
Right. So. But and even if the Cardinals ate like half of that $40 million, that's still $20 million that you're going to be on the hook for Sonny Gray next year. And again, Seattle's probably interested in trading Luis Castillo because they want some more financial flexibility. So are they going to just have all that eaten up by Sonny Gray? Like, Gray's probably better than Luis Castillo right now. But is he significantly better? I don't know. Does he make you significantly, better with Gray in and Castillo out? I don't know, maybe, but it just, the money's just not going to allow that to be a thing. Like, the Cardinals would have to eat so much money that it then becomes prohibitive on the Mariners side in terms of prospect capital. So I don't see that happening. It'd be awesome if they could figure out a way to make it happen, though. I'd be very on board with that, but I don't see it.
Yeah, Hauser, I think, is perfect for what the Mariners need right now. Just a guy that is pitching well right now. He's running a sub-2 ERA at the moment. He's not going to cost a ton, I don't think. And he stabilizes the back end of your rotation to get you to October. Because again, he's not going to pitch in October for you, at least not out of the rotation.
Yeah, might come out of the bullpen maybe, but yeah.
But it's going to be, it's going to be Gilbert, it's going to be Wu, it's going to be Kirby and Castillo, barring injury, of course. But yeah, like as far as like just getting one of those guys goes, just a guy to upgrade over Evans and Hancock, and that's it. I think Hauser is perfect for that situation. There's another guy that I'm going to talk about tomorrow on Fan Fiction Friday that also kind of fits that mold.
Yeah, Hauser's a totally sensible trade target, and he's very similar to Tyler Anderson when the Mariners acquired him a few years ago. You're just looking for a guy who's going to give you quality innings on the back end and not burn your bullpen every 5 days. And he's going to be cheap to acquire. He's going to be cheap money wise as well. So yeah, he's a totally sensible back end guy. Sure. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah. Pepio, I just don't think the Rays would trade Pepio.
He's not for sale. No.
Yeah. So Zach wants to know about Jeffrey Springs, JP Sears, Sean Newcomb, and Jacob Lopez. Any of those A's lefties stand out to you? I know you like the Jeffrey Springs idea.
Yeah, Springs has an additional year of club control after this year. He is a four-seam changeup guy, which is not something the Mariners really have in their rotation right now, as well as not having a lefty in their rotation right now. He's been very good at times. This year, it's been an up and down mix for him, however. But again, he is pitching in that little league ballpark, that AAA ballpark where the ball just jumps and it's very tough. Like Luis Severino's terrible there, and Severino's a good pitcher. So Springs, the contract is not unmanageable next year either. So and I think you can get him relatively cheap. Like Oakland's a team that usually will take bulk. And I think you can get Springs for bulk from them. JP Sears carves up the Mariners nicely, seemingly every time he goes out there.
He's had a decent year.
Yeah, like he's fine. Like he's a pitchable lefty, and there's some stuff there. We know he pitches well at T-Mobile Park, but is that just because he's facing the Mariners? I don't know. But yeah, that'd be an interesting add as well. I think he'd be a little more expensive than Springs. But again, having a lefty in this bullpen just to kind of break up all the righties, having a different look, making the Mariners a little bit harder to game plan for, I think is really interesting. So I'd be interested in both of them, the starters. Newcomb, whatever. Like I don't care all that much about him.
Well, you'd have to ramp him back up because he's been pitching out of the bullpen for a while now. And I think the most he's gone out of the bullpen was 5 innings like 2 months ago. And then other than that, it's been like 2 innings, 3 innings at most.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like if you're looking at him out of the bullpen, I guess fine. As a starter, I don't know. Like again, you would have to ramp him out, and how quickly are you able to get that done?
Yeah. Lopez is the guy I've liked for a while.
Yeah.
From the Tampa system.
We had him in a fan fiction in an off-season plan. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I believe he was a Rule 5 guy that the Rays couldn't protect, or we didn't think they were going to, and they did. And I think he was a part of how did he end up in Oakland?
Was he part of the Springs deal?
Might have been. But
yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, that's a guy that I've liked for a while. He's a left-handed reliever. It's got pretty good stuff. I think it's an interesting profile at T-Mobile Park, and I think he can help you. To me, he's more of a, hey, this is our JT Chargois than he is like, this is my Jimmy Garcia, just because of the track record there. But I like Lopez, so
yeah, he's pitching out of the rotation right now. By the way,
is he?
Yeah, he's starting for them.
I need to do some more research on Lopez then.
Yeah,
because last I heard, he was a reliever.
No, he's started 11 games for the A's. He's thrown 60 2/3 this year. He's running an 11.13 Ks per 9.
Probably too expensive then.
Maybe.
Yeah, but no, these are all interesting guys. I would, in terms of my like preference, I would probably rank them trying to factor in everything. Sears, probably still one. Springs probably still two, but
Sure.
Lopez three, and then I Newcomb. I don't care like
Sure.
whatsoever about. He's
That's
just not
that's fine. Yeah.
interesting to me at all.
Sure. Nate Davis wants to know about Vinny Pasquantino. We've actually kind of dove into that idea just in general a bit more. But to just reiterate our thoughts on that, that feels like a situation where you're paying more for the club control rather than the actual player and what he ultimately brings to the table. Pasquantino's fine. He's a slightly above league average hitter, about 10% ish above league average. He doesn't provide a ton of that traditional first base pop that you really want. Like, does he help? Yeah, totally. I think that gets too expensive because he's under club control for what, 3 more years?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, like the WRC plus is the last 3 years, 110, 109, 104. That's fine. And this year he's slashing 269, 327, 442. That's cool. That's dope. 17 home runs this year. He must have tapped into a bit more power as of late because I don't remember his home run total being that high last time we checked, or even being close to that high last time we checked. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I just feel like it gets to a place that's way too expensive relative to what he ultimately is.
Yeah. Are you paying for club control or are you paying for impact? With Pasquantino, you're paying for club control.
Yeah.
And, he's pretty similar to Ty France, just left-handed Ty France, where the power is not traditional first base power. So you hope he kind of makes up for it with lots of doubles and, high on base. And, to be fair, that worked very well for Ty France in this lineup for a couple of years until it didn't really. And so, yeah, Pasquantino to me is a guy who, well, he's lefty. He's a lefty first base only type. The Mariners have too many of those already. So not a great fit roster wise. I know he finished the first half on a heater. So he is playing well right now.
He's also bad against lefties. Like we should mention that. Like this year, he's running a 66 WRC plus against lefties, again, 123 against righties. Yeah.
Very similar to Luke Raley, very similar to Dominic Canzone. Yeah. And that's a bit of a problem. And there's not the impact there. Like with Josh Naylor, there's impact because we know Naylor has 30 home run power. He's done it before. Like, so yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to get a strong side platoon first baseman, that's not really going to solve any of my problems because I already have that guy. Isn't it just cheaper to just go get Ryan O'Hearn? Like,
or Naylor.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I would not pay more for Pasquantino than I would for Naylor. And I know I would have to because Pasquantino, again, he has 3 full years of club control after this year. So it's not like he's you're never out of the business of acquiring good players. You should never be out on that business. But when you actually look at the fit and you look at where your roster's at and you look at the cost, it's hard for me to imagine that all that comes together in exactly the way it has to for this trade to make a lot of sense for the Mariners. Now, I mean, if they're trading Luke Raley for Vinny Pasquantino, like fine. Raley's an outfielder. Kansas City needs it. And then Pasquantino just replaces Raley. They have similar club control. Obviously, Raley's got more power, but Vinny's going to, be a more consistent average guy. So maybe something like that would make sense. But I don't think all the stars are going to align to make Pasquantino a tremendous fit for Seattle this summer.
I also think his availability, using air quotes here for those of you not watching on YouTube, has been a bit overblown because of the Jack Caglione thing. But like Caglione's been really bad at the major league level. I don't think he's pushing Vinny Pasquantino out anytime soon. Well, I mean, and right now they can make both of those guys work with the way that roster is constructed as well. So I don't think they need to trade Pasquantino.
Right, but if Caglione is the first baseman of the future, which we know he is,
sure,
you need outfield help. Particularly need defensive outfield help because that ballpark, as we know, big gaps.
Yeah.
Raley makes sense for Kansas City. And Raley probably is going to be as good or if not better than Pasquantino offensively. They're going to have similar WRC pluses and they both have similar holes in their game. but Rayleigh's more of an athlete, and he's actually a pretty good outfielder. He's not a good first baseman. So, yeah, I actually think a Rayleigh Pasquantino swap could make some sense for both sides.
Sure.
But again, short of something like that, where we're swapping out one of your already platoon left-handed hitters who are corner guys only. I don't see the stars aligning on this one. But Pasquantino's a fun guy. We learned that in the All-Star break during the Derby. So he'd definitely be a popular player here in Seattle. But again, it just doesn't make a ton of sense roster-wise based on what it's going to probably cost to acquire him because of the club control. Not really.
All right. We are going to go over a few more names in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So let's go over these last few names you guys want us to talk about. Ross says, I know it sounds crazy, but if the Rays are the Rays, then why aren't we even talking about Jonathan Aranda? Costly, yes. Worth it. Let's discuss. I don't think they're trading Jonathan
He's not
Aranda.
available.
Yeah. He's got, 2 more years before he even hits arbitration, I think. And he's an all-star this year. He's already a 3-win player, I think, at this point. Yeah, I don't think.
Not even the Rays trade guys like this.
Yeah. Like, I know the Rays are the Rays, but usually that's because, all right, we're now in year 2 of arbitration. Let's get out of this thing,
ARB 2 is usually the earliest they will trade.
Taj Bradley is kind of the exception to the rule here.
Right, and Bradley has not had a season like Aranda's having, not really close to what Aranda is having. And Aranda, typically the Rays are a really good place to go, and they still are, even though they're still in it right now. They're a team that will buy and sell. They've done that multiple times, regardless of where they are in the standings. So we should always be talking about the Rays every year as a potential trade partner, regardless of where they are in the standings. But you have to kind of put yourself in the mindset of the Rays, and they're not even going to pay Aranda above league minimum for the next couple of years. They're certainly not going to trade him then or now. They might trade him again once he starts making $8, 10, 12, $15 million a year in arbitration. Then they'll probably move him, but they're not going to do it before that. Look at Randy Arozarena. So I think that's the reason we're not talking about Aranda, even though he is a Tampa Bay Ray.
Dylan wants to know about Stephen Quan. These Stephen Quan rumors won't die.
Much like a Stephen Quan at bat, he just won't go quietly.
Yeah. I keep hearing his name. Feinsand keeps talking about him. I think I saw Rosenthal talk about him, or someone else talk about him yesterday.
Now, to be fair, it's not linked to the Mariners in their discussion. No. It's just that he might be available. But you also see people quickly point out it's highly unlikely that he would be traded because of the club control left and all that. But Cleveland is kind of like a team like Tampa. If they're fringy in it, they might buy and sell. Quan would be a really fun fit here in Seattle. He'd be great at the top of your order, kind of push JP down to 9 or 2 or whatever. But those two guys setting the table for MVP level Cal Raleigh and Randy Arozarena, what he's doing, and even Julio. You put more guys on base, Julio's more likely to get better pitches to hit, and Quan gets on base and he can steal some bags, although it's not a huge part of his game. But Quan is a guy. I don't think he's going to get traded. I think he might get traded this winter, maybe next summer. But if a team's looking to, if the Guardians are looking for somebody to overpay, sure, they should put him out there. But I think to get the Guardians interested, I think you're talking about Colt Emerson being involved here. And wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Quan's a really good player.
Yeah, I'd consider it.
Yeah, I would too. But I don't think that ultimately it's gonna, and that's straight up. Like they might be like, yeah, give us Emerson, give us Laz, and give us Sloan. It's just like, no, not
Yeah.
Quan doesn't impact the baseball enough for me to give that up, but he's a really good player. I just don't think he's available in a way that a lot of people like. Like he's available, but it's blow us away
Sure.
with an offer, and then we'll consider it, and then we'll start
Sure.
talking about it. But yeah, he'd be a really nice fit here, and I'd be really excited if they could acquire him. I just don't think now is the time that the Guardians actually trade Quan, so that's why I'm not all that jazzed about the rumors that have been flying. But there have been a lot of them. Can't deny that. There's a lot of buzz around this possibility.
All right. Last one here. This one comes from Vlad. How much would Willie Castro cost?
I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah. By the way, just feel like it's worth mentioning that Daniel Kramer in his article that he put out last night said that the Mariners have liked Castro for a while. So that adds even more fuel to the, we've talked about him a lot, but
yeah,
now we have like confirmation the Mariners do like him.
Yeah. And apparently him and Julio are good buddies. If that means anything, I don't know, but throw that out there. Sure. Willie Castro, again, thought about this a lot. He's kind of I don't want to say perfect fit for Seattle, but he can pretty much check one of the many boxes that the Mariners have in terms of needs. Third base, first base, right field. He can also play second base, shortstop, left field, center field, probably even first base if you needed him to. I think you're looking at, even though he's a rental, I think you're looking at something like Ty Pete. I think Teddy McGraw is a guy who makes some sense here. I think Tyler Locklear is a guy who makes some sense here. But I do think that, again, without knowing the bidding war situation going on here, I think someone in that Ty Pete range as a headliner, and then I think you probably need a pretty decent second piece. And I think a guy with the upside and talent of Teddy McGraw would be pretty enticing to Minnesota. So I really like the Willie Castro idea, and I think he's going to be fairly reasonable in terms of costs. And I think Ty Pete is a really good headliner for a Willie Castro trade.
Yeah, I think that's right about where I'm at. How far would you go on a Castro trade?
Well, again, keeping in mind beauty's in the eye of the beholder, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like I have Ty Pete at like 15, I think, in my prospect ranks as things stand right now. A lot of places still have him top 10 ish. Mm-hmm. So there's some discrepancy there. I think anybody like I don't think I would do Arroyo or Ford for 2 months of Willie Castro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anybody below that, I'm listening on. Mm-hmm. Like anybody outside my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, if you get like Willie Castro and Brock Stewart, would I give up Harry Ford for that? Probably, because I'm getting two things there. But for just Castro straight up, I don't think he has the upside of Gino, so I'm not gonna be willing to pay as much for him as I would for Gino. But yeah, like it's the Morales, it's the Ty Pete, it's the Tyler Locklear, like those type of guys. I would give up a couple of them for Willie Castro. So I would say I'm getting fairly aggressive on him, but I'm not gonna cross over into the reckless type of thing. But I just think Ty Pete is the perfect like starting point.
But yeah, Castro works in so many different ways for this team. He could be the Dylan Moore replacement. He could be your third baseman. He could, play some outfield for you, whatever. Right? There's just so many levers you can pull with Castro. He just makes your roster so much better.
He doesn't block you from doing anything else you might want to do either. Exactly. Yeah. And he crushes at T-Mobile Park.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a rental. He's going to be a little pricey, but he's worth it.
Yeah, I love the Castro idea. All right, well, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you guys for all the names you wanted us to touch on here. And thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Teddy Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Tydane Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.